I'm joined now by two, I told you, amazing, incredible, intelligent young women. Mueni, Makena, welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, you're so excited you missed the turning and you went off on your own tangent. No, but seriously, tell me, who is Mueni Ithau?
Yeah, so I'm Mueni. I'm born and raised here in Nairobi, and I am currently a consultant working, a young woman trying to navigate corporate. So that's really my brand and what I am right now. But I think that's a brief intro. I think we can get more into it as we go.
Makena, for some reason your sister refused to share your number. I don't know if it's a secret. Like she'd say, I'll tell my sister. I'll call my sister. I'll find out from my sister.
Probably because I'm really difficult to reach sometimes. I suck at replying to messages and picking up calls. So I think she was just like, let me handle it. Let me be the one to reach
Olivia,
out.
you'll be frustrated. Yeah, give up on us.
Yep, that's probably why.
So who is Makena Ithau?
So I'm 24 years old. I like to think of myself as a multidisciplinary...
Can you stand? Mumbi, okay. Prepare the cameras. Can you stand up so we can just see you in all your glory? Just go to the stage. We have a whole stage there for you to catwalk, girl. Just go there. Mumbi, follow her with them cameras. Yeah, Mumbi's now wondering, oh my God, Olivia, you're putting me under so much pressure. I don't know if I can touch anything. Okay, get back. Because I don't know if Mumbi, I caught her but walk slow. Get back. Go. Keep going to the chair. Do it. Excellent. How tall are you?
I am 5'9".
No.
76 centimeters to be exact.
I think you'd be at least 6 foot. Are you wearing heels?
Yeah, I am wearing little wedges.
Little wedges.
Yeah.
Do tall people find it difficult to wear high shoes?
Some people do, but I don't.
Yeah.
I like to stand out.
So I cut you off. Tell me, who is Makena?
So 24 years old, I think of myself as a multidisciplinary creative. But currently I'm working towards being a professional fashion model. So
wow,
that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, so we're going to start with you and your corporate career. Is that what you wanted to be when you were 12 years old? And when you were like, I want to be a young woman in corporate?
No, actually, I was just talking about this with my sister before this.
Yeah.
But I actually was like, really into nature. I was like, I want to be a Nat Geo photographer or a marine biologist. I was like, I'm going to go chase dolphins in Australia.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to do originally. But then as time went on and, you go through school, you start doing well. So initially it was like, you do well, you should become a doctor, lawyer, etc.
So the moral of the story is don't do well if you want to pursue your real dreams. Yeah, you want to have your real dreams. Don't do well in school because if you do well, your parents will pressure you to become a lawyer. No, just kidding. Continue.
Yeah, so that was it, and I did well. So I followed that path, got into good schools, and I was like, okay.
When you say good schools, how good?
So for university, I went to Stanford University in California.
Wait. I have something here,
and
it has applause, right? I'm going to, Mumbi, cue me up somewhere so I can put some applause for when. So you went to Stanford.
Yes.
Paid scholarship.
Scholarship, partial, yeah.
Mumbi, yeah, those applause. Hey, Mumbi. Continue. What did you study at Stanford?
I studied public policy and econ.
Okay.
So I was really into development space, how you can drive impact. So that's what I was really working towards. So I'm still in the business world, but not just for the sake of money. I'm just I want to know I'm doing good in the world.
There they are. Thank you so much. I absolutely love it. So I'll start with you, Makena. What does the International Day of the Girl Child represent for you?
So for me, I think it means celebrating women in all different spaces and putting us in the forefront because as women, sometimes we're looked over and sort of put in the back burner to be there for support, but not the front face or something.
Yes.
So I think it's a day to just show that women, we are here. We're here to make an impact, to make noise, and we're not going to be silenced or put down. So I think that's what it means for me. Just
have you had instances in your young life where you felt put aside or silenced?
Yeah, sometimes, especially towards academics. Sometimes if I think of myself, I studied sciences. Mm-hmm. So being in the science space, it's very male dominated. So sometimes as a woman, you're sort of put in the thing of the back burner, where maybe in the experiment you'll be the one doing all the work, all the actual tedious stuff, and then it'll be the man who'll get their face put on it. So, and that's a big thing that's happened in history a lot, through the entire history of sciences.
What about you, Mueni? Any instances where you felt like, you weren't recognized or appreciated simply because you're a young woman or a girl?
Yes, working in the spaces that I have in a lot of businesses, being like a young woman, especially also working like in the US space. So being a young Black woman of African descent, there've been a lot of times you're in meetings and you have input to share, and then, you're kind of dismissed, and then somebody else says the same thing, that story that you hear.
But I just said that.
Exactly.
I said exactly the same thing 4 seconds ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of instances like that, particularly when I was working in the US. Not so much now, I think, because I think growing from that, I'm like, I want to be heard. I want to be seen. I'm back home. So I'm in a space that I'm a lot more comfortable, that I'm familiar with. So I'm just like, if you're going to silence me, good luck for you. I have a lot to say.
94.4 SpiceFM public service announcement. Routine screening. Early detection saves lives. In Kenya, 7 women die daily from breast cancer. 7. A simple checkup could save your life. Makena, have you been screened? Do you self-exam? Are you aware?
Yes, I am. Done some recently this year. And always doing the quick self-exam.
Mueni, do you have any history of cancer or breast cancer in your family?
Yeah, actually, our grandmother, my dad's mother, she had breast cancer, and then it was like cleared, but then a few years later, it came back and what is it called when it spreads? Metastasized?
Yes.
Yeah. So she passed away from that. So we're very cognizant and always checking, because beyond that, a few of my other aunts on my dad's side also have had different kinds of cancer. So it's something I'm very aware of.
Angelina Jolie, BRCA gene. Is that something the two of you are aware of, wanting to test, wanting to find out,
Yeah, definitely want to be able to get the test. Just not sure where the testing center, where you can get tested in Kenya, but it's definitely something I've looked into.
Healthcare providers. I'm not sure about genetic testing in this country. I've done all of mine in the UK, but seeing as how you guys are able to travel, I would recommend and suggest that you do. But we're getting now into the International Day of the Girl Child, wanting to understand your experiences, your upbringing. I'm going to start with you, Makena.
So was born here in Nairobi, and I lived the first about 4 years of my life in South Africa. My mom got a job over there with Unilever, so we kind of moved on over there. And then came back to Kenya, went to primary school at Kianda, which is quite an experience for me, I would say. Being in the all-girls Catholic school environment, I really felt like I couldn't thrive and I couldn't be myself. The number of times I would always be shouted at, you can't have your hair relaxed, you can't have your hair straightened, your skirt is too short, you have to walk in a line to go everywhere, have to go for mass every day before lunch.
Are you Catholics?
Yes.
Well, we used to be.
Were you
Yes.
Catholics then?
Yes, then we were Catholics. Yeah. But yeah, definitely that experience at Kianda kind of strayed me away from religion, because sometimes when you see the extreme, it really pushes you away. And that was sort of what happened. Yeah, it was really not it.
How long? How many years were you at Kianda?
I was there for seven and a half years.
Wow.
Which is also a point of contention with my sister, because she did the full 8 years and she did KCPE, and she's kind of held that against me for quite a while, that I got to leave early, and then we went to Peponi.
But then she went to Stanford. Yeah, so you see, maybe that half year at Kianda got her into Stanford.
It's not about the time. It was more so that because my birthday is at the beginning of the year, it was fine for 8 for 4. But when I transitioned to British system, I was older than most people. And when you're young, that slight distinction, it's a problem. So when she left early, she was on time. She was the same age as her peers and everything. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was a grandma.
People really hold that against you in high school. I don't know why people really are like, oh, you're the old lady.
Yeah. It's true. So you left. Any other notable experiences, maybe with your classmates or activities? Or even generally in society during those 7 years before you crossed over to Peponi?
I would say that I felt a little bit, just that suppression that I felt definitely with the school, because I'm a pianist, for example. I've been playing piano since I was 4 years old.
What grade are you in?
Ooh, for piano?
Yeah.
Oh, finished those a while back.
Okay.
I got to the diploma level after grade 8.
Mumbi, please be cueing that applause. Mumbi, there's going to be a lot of clapping today. Lots of clapping. Continue.
But while I was there, I remember trying to be like, we need to do more things on music classes and do all of that. But it was all geared towards church. Like, we'll have to do choir.
I was going to say academic.
No, just church.
Yeah.
No, church. Yeah. Just everything. If we're doing any music, it would only be just choir singing. And I'm like, okay, that's fun. That's great. But also, hey, I'm trying to play some Chopin, some Mozart over here. And I did make some really good friends. But I think that because of the switch and completely changing, just the people are so different between people I met in high school and through university that I lost touch with quite a lot of my friends from primary school. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I think it was
the space you were in an all-girls school, mm-hmm. and the commemoration of International Day of the Girl Child. Do you think there's a need to have exclusive institutions for girls and women, or do you think you'd have been fine either way, even if you'd had a mixed school primary experience?
I think it's actually quite important to have certain spaces that are geared just towards women.
Like Double O Direct, just like,
yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But I would have preferred if it was more towards the positive empowerment of women rather than in the school they were more of putting you towards a submissive side of a woman, mm-hmm. more like just everything about marriage, and it was.
So we're teaching that. We're going to take a pause. Yeah, we'll go to you, Mueni, before we get in trouble with the sisters. Not these sisters, the sisters. Tell me about your childhood.
Yeah, pretty much the same as my sister. So we were born here, then we moved to South Africa with my mom only, actually. So my dad stayed in Kenya while we went with my mom.
And how many years were you there?
3 years.
And how was that?
It was nice. I mean, I barely remember it. I just remember, running around in school, the weird habits and hobbies we had. We did like swimming, and then on the side we also used to keep like silkworms. It's very weird, but it was a big thing there. Like when you reflect back, it sounds very strange, but
very nerdy, I would say.
So you keep them like people have ant farms? Or,
you keep
hamsters?
them, and then they make silk, and then you sell it at the kindergarten like open day fair.
Yeah. The silk or the worms?
The silk.
The silk.
Moving along.
And so after that, coming back, also went to Kianda. I think because I was also slightly older, I had a weird experience.
How many years, like in terms of academics? Like if she's in Standard 1, you'd be in?
Standard 3. Okay. So I'm like 2 years older than her.
Okay.
So it was a bit different when I first joined. My first few years are a bit weird because I'd come from South Africa. I had a bit of a South African. I didn't have like a Kenyan accent. I just sound like my mom.
You still don't.
Yeah. I just sound like my mom, which is one thing that people don't understand. They want to be like, oh, you went to XYZ. And I'm like, no, from birth. This is the accent I've been hearing. It's the one I sound like. A lot of people confuse my mom and I today.
Yeah.
But like I came back, and because I had this accent, I was kind of different. I was kind of bullied and ostracized because they're like, oh, who is this? Yes. Because it's like sometimes it's a bit hard. I mean, but I had good friends. So I always had like solid friends who were with me like throughout. But like there was also just like this initial piece where like, oh, who do you think you are almost, you know? Because of that culture of like conformity and like really trying
keep your head down.
Keep your head
Don't
down.
talk too loud.
Yeah, kind of be the same kind of person from the same kind of backgrounds into the same things. But unlike my sister, I guess I did well in that setting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a good person at following the rules.
I'm not.
So
she says.
Yeah. So I was just like, I was okay for my 8 years there, but I think I truly.
Was there ever a time when you talked to your mom, you're like, okay, we're in Standard 6.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of us leaving this institution?
Oh, we did. Every single year.
Every day.
Really?
Every day.
Did you have friends, of course, coming from the background you were coming from, who were already in non-844 schools?
Yes, a lot of them. So it was we couldn't get it because our parents were like, they wanted to set us up to have a good foundation. So they're like, we seen this school. They had a friend whose daughter had gone there and she was great. So they're like, this is a good place for you to go to learn values, hard work. And to be honest, I think I really get that like hard work piece.
In hindsight.
In hindsight, yes.
Yeah,
I think I worked really hard because, fun fact, it's very funny actually. When I finally did go over to the British system, so I basically did my KCP. And normally if you're in 844, that's the time you have that 3-month holiday. It's share ahead. It's a good time.
Yeah.
But what I did is like, because I wanted to test out what it would be like to go to a school like Peponi, now I joined them for their end of the term in their last 2 weeks and also sat their exams.
That November.
Yes, November, December. And I did better than most people after coming in 2 weeks. 2 weeks in for things I had never done before because we didn't do sciences like chemistry, bio, physics. Like it was just science. Yeah.
Okay.
So I came in and I was just like, wow. Like
that was easy.
I was like, yes. So after that, I was like, I'm not going back. This is nice.
Wonderful. So you went into Peponi and you were there for how many years?
5.
Yeah, from year 9 till year 13.
So you did your A-levels there.
Yes.
Was there any experience or anything with regards to one school vis-a-vis the other that you'd like? Forget about, how strict they were or how liberal they were. I'm talking about the academics and how you learned that you think, you should have adopted maybe in the older school or the younger one.
I think definitely the thing of discipline. See, the problem with Kianda is the discipline is kind of forced onto you. You're told you have to be here.
By the way, the Standard Group holds nothing against Kianda or Peponi or any other school. This is just their personal experience. Disclaimer. Melissa Ngetich, head of legal. All right.
So sort of the discipline is forced onto you. But then when you go into a space where you're not necessarily being told what to do, it's really hard to find that self-discipline. So that's something that I wish sort of both ends could have
met somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think, could have met somewhere in the middle.
What about you, Mueni?
I think it's like encouraging free thought and questioning. So I think, and this is once again my opinion.
Okay.
Disclaimer.
Shout out to legal. But I think the way the Kenyan system and curriculum was back then, it was very like, this is it, this is the answer, cram it, and like, you'll do well. Versus like the other system where it encourages a bit more thought and like, what is your opinion? Like, does this make sense? If that's what's in the book, So I think there's that element where it's always good to like know the facts and be grounded in them. But then that other element of like, just because something has been this way for so long doesn't have to be the case going forward. So I think I appreciate that space where your voice can actually come through a bit more in your academic setting. I think that really helps shape like my path forward.
The world marked the International Day of the Girl Child on Tuesday. I now speak to 2 young women on what that means to them. Now, how do you identify? Because it's not the International Day of the Kenyan girl. It's not the International Day of the African girl. Yeah. It's the International Day of the Girl Child in general. And I understand that you've managed to have feet globally, right? So how do you identify? I'll start with you, Mueni, this time.
Yeah. I identify as a woman in all the different facets and experiences that I've had. I think through a lot of our lives, people have wanted to put us in buckets or check us into one place or another, which has been really hard. As I had mentioned, like before, going to Canada after living in South Africa, it's like, oh, you're foreign. And then you go from Canada to Peponi and it's like, oh, you went to 844.
You're local.
Yeah.
No one's ever happy.
and then you go to the US to a place like Stanford. And then once again, even there, you'd find like these nuances in your identity. So I'm a Kenyan student at Stanford, but even amongst the Kenyans at Stanford, like I'm different because we grew up in quite a privileged background, and a lot of the other people there, like their background wasn't the same as ours. So it's just like always hard to kind of find this space. So I think I've just gotten comfortable with being who I am. Like I'm an amalgamation of all my experiences. I can't give you one word or another to describe it, and it's okay.
Makena, do you feel Kenyan?
I do feel Kenyan, actually. I'm quite proud of it. And especially you can be proud of where you're from when you're in the country, but especially when you go abroad. So I went to college in America. I went to Yale University.
Okay, Yale, Stanford. Where are we?
Yale.
It depends who you ask.
Yeah. True.
All right, okay.
So yeah, when I was over there, just every day, just having this identity as Kenyan, I felt so proud to be one of the people there.
Even before Lupita gave us that Oscar.
Yes, exactly. And there are quite a lot of Kenyans there, which is also a really fun thing that, sometimes when you think of Kenyans abroad at these great institutions, you think of Nigerians, must be a lot of Nigerians.
Oh, you think of Africans abroad.
Yeah, okay. Africans abroad.
Yeah.
A lot of time people would imagine Nigerians, South Africans, a lot of white South Africans and that kind of thing. So when
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, that kind of energy. Yeah. So when sometimes we'll be in my year alone, we were 7, 8 Kenyans. So when we would say that, there are more Kenyans than Nigerians in our year, people would be like, oh, what? I didn't expect that. Wait, Kenyans? Why are there so many?
To be Nigerian simply because you're black and you're from Africa.
Yes, okay. All the time.
All right.
Yeah, all the time. Or obviously just African American if they just see you. And that's the thing with America. They really like to label. Everything has to be labeled
and put in its place.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is your place then, Makena? Because you grew up in Kenya. You are from a privileged background. You did go to Yale. Mm-hmm. You want to be an international fashion model?
Yes.
What were you studying in Yale? And what would you have studied had you been more cognizant of where you are now and what you actually want to do?
Okay, so I think of myself as a free thinker of the world, and very, what's the word? Yeah, I would say free thinker. And so I studied the history of science and medicine. I started out with molecular biology because I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, actually, doing pre-med to be a plastic surgeon.
Yes.
And while I was there, I realized that following that path through life will be kind of restricting me. So that's why I found the switch to the history of medicine. And I love it because it's a very random course. There are not a lot of people.
I don't know anybody who's ever studied.
And that's what so many people tell me. And I love that. I love being that one person who can tell you about what was happening in the 5th century BC and ancient Greece with the medicine and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I situate myself very much as a free thinker as well in Kenya, because I've been privileged enough to have these experiences, and Yale University is known as one of the very liberal. People will go to class with like pasties on kind of thing, like very liberal. Really out there.
That is very liberal. Yeah. I mean, there's liberal. I thought you were going to say like, flip-flops. Then you went into pasties, like, okay.
Yeah, just pasties and a little that kind of thing. So I'm very grateful to have gotten the experiences from Kianda to that other extreme. So I'd love to sort of bring that together and sort of bring it back home. I think I'm that one person at the family meetings who will just say things and aunties and uncles are like clutching their pearls. Like,
I love how your aunties and uncles also have pearls.
Yeah. Hey, listen, anyone can. Jewelry's for everyone, I say.
It's for everyone. Do you feel like you found the career of your choice, Mueni? Do you feel that in what you do right now in corporate, that's where you're going to stay?
I'm not sure. I'm still figuring it out. So I got into this because I knew it would be helpful in whatever I wanted to do. It's a good base. You learn a lot of different technical skills where no matter what you want to do, it's okay. Because I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. So I think as time went on, so when I got out of like other people's voices in my head about like what I should be doing with my life, I'm still in a space.
Parents.
When
we talk about other people, we mean parents.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do, but in that interim where I'm completely confused and trying to figure it out, I still seek out opportunities that give me the broadest range of options. And that's what consulting is. It's like you have a job where in the family meeting, they're like, we're so proud of you. But really you're sitting there like, I am confused. I'm only doing this because I don't know what else to do.
In the broader aspect of Kenyan society and Africa, do you feel disconnected? Because from what I'm hearing, it's like me on the 31st of October. right? I'll be part of a 0.01%. Do you feel a part of a 0.01% of this country, of this society? And how do you manage that? Or do you just say,
Definitely, I do feel disconnected a few times, not only just because of having been outside of the country for a while, but also just having grown up in a very privileged lifestyle. Very grateful for that through my mom and my dad for the hard work that they put in. So there are quite a lot of times I feel disconnected, like not taking the public transport, for example, or not having been to certain areas. But I like to keep my mind open. I think that's one thing, and never to judge. And also just not selecting, if that makes sense, and putting myself out there.
Career-wise,
yes.
Where are you looking for employment?
See, that's the thing where, the disconnected comes again.
Yeah.
Because in Kenya, there's not a lot of spaces for high fashion. There's a lot of commercial fashion modeling available and working in commercial fashion. But I've always seen myself, I think of more of modeling of the art of it. So the high fashion, not necessarily doing a photo shoot where I'm posing and smiling, not to look pretty.
Are there, okay, so you're looking like Willow Smith.
Yeah, that kind of, yes.
And moving and more.
Yes.
So the question is, are there individuals that you have identified with, right? Maybe even like predecessors in Kenya, East Africa, Africa in general, that you think, I'm very interested in what X was able to achieve. Maybe I can up it a little bit, you know? So are there any role models that you see? Tell me about them.
Quite a few. First one I can think of is Ajuma, the model, because she came from Kenya and has managed to put herself into the international space. And what I love about what she's doing is, which I would love to do, is use the influence that you get through modeling, the international modeling, and bring that back to Kenya, bring that back in different ways to give back into the community. So that could be through starting, she has her own modeling agency now, City Models Africa. So it could be through that, where you're giving other people the opportunity to do what she did. Or it could be through charity works, because I always think it helps a lot if everyone in the world knows you. For example, like if I start a charity versus if Rihanna starts a charity, it'll have a lot more, it will have a lot more vision, a lot more people sort of looking into it, and a lot more people will help when you have that influence. So that's sort of what I would want to do with my life.
Have you been in touch with the Juma?
No, I have not. I should. That is a very good point.
There!
I should.
Show accomplished. Moving on. Mueni, with regards to your career, are you looking at staying local?
I think long term, yes, but maybe in like my immediate next steps, I want to go out and be abroad again.
Shanghai.
Anywhere,
Hong Kong.
really.
I see it. Far East. And people to visit. No, I have people like up until Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean from the US all the way to, but I don't have people like in the Far East. So Australia? Work in Australia or there so that I can come visit you. Yeah?
Australia's nice.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I highly recommend it. I'm going to talk to your mother. No, just kidding. Now tell me more about where you foresee yourself and why.
Yeah, so I want to get broader experience. I think even in this space, it's very easy to get like pushed into a corner of like, okay, you've worked in like corporate setting in Kenya for so long, so you'll only progress within like Kenyan orgs. But really, it's like,
but you currently don't work for a local company.
No, I don't actually. Okay. I don't. But if I were to like pivot out of that, then I think being in the role that it gives me broader opportunity with other global or multinational firms. But I still think at the end of the day, the way people see me is it's a global firm working in Kenya, so you're a Kenyan expert, right? But I want to be more global or even like Pan-African, just like I feel like there's so many similarities across like our different places, but I don't think, unlike in the global West where people see you as an expert across and it's fine, like here it's like you're pigeonholed into your country.
I need to know where you feel your greatest strength is with regards to the advantages that you were given or you currently have. Because I know there are people thinking, I couldn't afford Paponi, or I didn't go to Yale, or I'm not 5'10", So yeah, those you can mention those, but what do you think your greatest, your USP is, right? Mm-hmm. And how can the child tap into that? Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a bit. When you were out in the US, did you go to any agencies? Did you try to get any?
It was a little bit difficult because with my visa, you were only allowed to work on student jobs.
Okay,
But while I was there was a Yale fashion house. So I was like their designated model. Anytime they needed something, I'm like, I'm
What was
there.
the name of that woman? Yeah. White Kenyan woman who discovered Ajuma. I used to have her number. You know her name?
The one for Kiko Rume?
No, not Anne McCree.
Not Anne McCree.
No, she used to do Ford Fashion Model of the World competition.
Ooh.
I'm going to find you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to hook
thank
you
you.
up. Yeah,
I
but
love
right
that.
now, 3 things I need to know. What are you reading? What are you watching? And what are you listening to? Mueni.
All right. I am reading a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. She was a psychology professor at Stanford, and she has this great book on like the growth mindset. So that's like a personal like well-being and growth read.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
And then what I'm watching and listening to, I'm really into true crime. So there's a lot of overlap there. So I just finished like the Dahmer series on Netflix.
Is it worth watching?
It is. Because I also have like the other end on the victim, which you don't hear about.
Why was he killing only dudes though? Don't tell me I haven't watched it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah. And then similarly, what I listen to is a lot of true crime podcasts. So that's what I do on my way to work, listen to murder.
If ever I disappear, she gotta know what happened to me. Yeah? If ever I disappear, the balloon didn't show up. I'm not gonna have it registered by Sims. So if you can't reach me, please WhatsApp. So you listen to true crime podcasts.
Yes. So I'm listening to My Favorite Murder, which is one, and the other one's called Criminal. So
We're gonna move on from you, seriously. Bring us some rainbows and sunshine. Makena, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to?
So I'm not really a big reader, but I started reading, I have a really short attention span. So I started reading this book on the Big Bang, sort of like the science, the beginning of the universe. Watching, I'm the one who introduced her to true crime and like murder series.
Took it over.
Yeah. So I basically almost only watch murder documentaries. That's what I sleep
Patricia,
to.
what is happening in your house?
That's literally.
I'm gonna come with sage. We're gonna have a ritual. We're gonna remove whatever it is that is there with this true crime.
No, that's
Not even
literally
fake crime. True crime.
True. Yeah, that's literally what I sleep to. It's like a lullaby. As soon as I have to sleep watching a murder documentary, and I sleep so sweetly with the murder. It's a little bit weird, but there are quite a few people out there in the world. I'm sure there are people somewhere.
No, this is a 0.001.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised.
No, I really would be. All right, so parting words for young girls who want to be where you are, the gaps you've identified, the privilege that you saw, the opportunities that were given, and that one thing that you feel, be it in the US, Stanford or Yale, that you feel you can share. I'm going to start off with you, Mueni.
Yeah, I think it's just being open to hearing different perspectives and trying different things, engaging with new people. I think that's like one of my greatest strengths now. You can put me in a room with anyone and I'll probably find something that we can connect on, which makes life a lot easier, especially in this world where people are kind of like going into, oh, you're this kind of person, or we believe in this, or, in the US, oh, God knows what's happening in that place. But, so I think it's really good. And if you can get those experiences that put you out of your comfort zone, be with people broader than like your immediate network, I think that's something that every young woman should strive for.
Fantastic. Makena?
I would say kind of very similar. Don't be afraid to try anything and everything, because right now, the way the world is, anything that you do, if you love to crochet, listen, there's a way to be at the best crocheter ever and put it out there and share your talent. And don't be afraid if you're not the best at something. That's another thing which I sometimes struggle with, perfectionism. You don't have to do things perfectly. You just have to do your best, what you feel your best is, and be proud of yourself for that. And another thing which, especially with confidence, it's not the best saying, but I always say fake it till you make it. So sometimes on a runway show, you might be terrified as hell, but if you just fake that confidence, by the time you get to the end, you'll be feeling it. So sometimes it takes yourself going through that uncomfortable situation and just being like, I'm going to put on the face that I'm not uncomfortable. Soon, in the middle of it, you'll be like, actually, I got this. I can do this. And I'm doing great. And pat myself on the back.
Wonderful. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.